Hello everyone, welcome to Data in Nutshell. Today we are going to learn this. When a user will click on mark attendance, right, in this tab web app backend, the entries will be populated. So let's click on the mark attendance and you can see the timestamp, the attendance, email address, date and end time has been populated. Now if I go and again click on mark attendance, the out time will also appear here. So with the help of this script, you can track your employees in time and out time if they are using separate computers to work, right? And with the help of this attendance system, you can calculate the number of hours they have worked and calculate the wages as well. I have modified the code which was used in part 2 video, and we are populating these 3 extra columns in this particular video. Okay, so let's go to the code. So I have not changed anything in HTML page, this one, okay, and I have also not changed this function. I have only changed function name transfer, okay, and in this also majority of the lines are exactly same which are shown in part 2 video. The only lines which are added will have part 3 lines written like this in front of the lines which are newly added, right? So what exactly we are going to do, let's go through the thought process of the script, right? Before learning about the coding. I'm getting this data, right? This data. This in time is coming from this timestamp. This date is also coming from this timestamp. But the challenge is when the user will again click at the end of the shift, right? If the user again clicks the button, so my script should know that this particular email address on this particular date, if it is already present, right, then do not create a new entry. Go and update the time when the button was clicked. Simple. This is the thought. So obviously I should have I should have something to verify whether this email address was present on 10th of November, for example, right? So to make sure this happens, right, I created a separate tab, calculation tab, where I have just entered email, date, concatenate and count header, okay? So in cell A5, I have entered this formula. I want a unique data, okay, and I'm using a query formula in web app backend. So this is the tab from where I want the data with the help of query, and I want everything. Select star means everything in web app backend from C2 till D. D means last row of the sheet. So if I go and check this, C and D, so I only want these 2 columns here. So I'm getting these 2 columns from web app backend, and I'm also getting a unique one because there are chances that there would be multiple users doing it, right? So I want each email address here unique and the date as well, so that I can do a concatenate in column C. If I do the concatenate like this, concatenate A5, comma, using text formula will make sure that this date will come in MMDDYYYY format, okay? So this is just to make sure that the format in the concat is constant. So I have created a unique key for this email address with this date. So now I am counting this concatenate with the help of COUNTIF formula, right, in this backend, so that I can get the number of count of this email address with this date. So to map this data in web app backend, I have created a separate column, concatenate. Okay, here also I am doing same thing. I am concatenating D, I am concatenating C, okay, and I am getting data accordingly. So I am getting the email address with the date. So I have 2 unique keys now in 2 separate tabs. One is this and one is this. Now in the script, the next step would be first come to this particular tab, okay, and take these two columns and store it in an array. Okay, so for example, the script will come to this particular cell and it will save 1 in front of that particular cell. So that means this pbtcchina@gmail.com 11/10/2022 will have 1. That means the count of this concatenate is 1. That means there is only one entry present in this. One entry means that user has already clicked the button for sure, right? Now if for example this concatenate is present in this column, right? So I'm trying to explain how the script is thinking. So now the next step is I'm searching this concatenate in this column and I want the index. Index means in which row this particular concatenate exists, so that I can go to that row and column F to enter the time when a second entry or when the user clicks second time on the mark attendance. So that means I have to check whenever a mark attendance button is clicked, I have to check the current user using that script. Okay, and the second thing I have to check whether that user data is already present for this particular date or the date for which the click is done, right? So we are going to now look into the script. So let's go to the script. So what exactly we are doing, we are calling the spreadsheet with the help of this line. Then we are calling the tab which is web app backend. This is web app backend. Okay, now I am asking for the last row in this tab in web app backend. In web app backend, the last row will be 2. Now I have added 1 here because I want the last row to be appended, so that's why I have added 1. So it's completely your choice whether you want to add 1 or not. So I have added 1 so that I can get the exact number of row where I have to copy paste the values, the new values. I have also created a timestamp where I am getting today's date, new date. This is a standard notation. With the help of this, I'll get the date and time. Okay. Now I've created a date variable where I am getting only the date in the format of mmddyyy. So utilities.format data, or you can say the notation which we usually use. In this, I am saying take the date. You can also put timestamp here. Instead of new date, you can put the timestamp because both are same, comma, GMT plus 530, the time zone in which you are in. Okay, and then the format you want the date in. So in this case, in the date variable, only the date will come and not the time, because we only require the date. And then in the email variable, we are getting the session, current active user, current email address. So in this variable, we will get the user's email address stored here. Cool. Now I am basically creating a concatenate variable where I am adding, or you can say I am concatenating these two variables, which is email. Emails means pbtcchina@gmail.com plus the date, which is converted into string. Okay, so it will come as the email address and followed by the date, which is 11/10/2022 in mmddyyy, because the date is coming from here and we have already set the format. So I know I have to find out this variable, right? So I have created this variable so that it can be searched in this column. So in this variable, we are getting current users data with the current date, and we can map it in column G, whether it exists or not. This is the whole purpose. Okay. Now I'm creating a new variable, calculation tab data, where I am taking all the data from this tab, calculation tab, this one. Okay. Then I'm going to the range C5:D, C5:D. That means this data, only this data, right? Let's go to the code. Then I'm saying after D, the number should be this. What is this? Go to the sheet, go to the tab, calculation tab, get the range C3 and get the value which is present in the C3. Where is C3? C3 is this, C3. Okay, and in C3 I have entered a formula count A. So that means I can get the unique number of rows for which I have to check data for. Okay, so this you can say a upper limit of the for loop. That's why we are taking this cell. And why we are adding 4? Because we already have 4 rows above this row number 5. So that's why we are adding 4 rows, so that it will start from C5 instead of C1. Okay, now we have taken all the data from this tab from C5 till D bottom. Now what we are doing, now we are starting a if else condition. This is very easy. Okay, if else statements. Now what exactly we are doing, we have created this concatenate, right? We want to make sure the user who is clicking the mark attendance button and the today's date, we are comparing the concatenate of these two elements with calculation tab data element number 1. Okay, so if I go into this data, right, this one, so what will be 0, 0? 0, 0 will be this, 0, 1 will be this. So 0, 0 is this concatenate PBTC China and the date. So we are comparing current user data who clicked the mark button with today's date. We are concatenating it and we are comparing it with the first element of the array in this sheet. We are saying, so we are saying if both are equal, okay, and the calculation tab 0, 1, that means this value, which is 1 as of now. Okay, if this is greater than equals to 2, which means there are 2 entries of this particular user. Okay, so for example, if you have manually entered any data or anything like that, if something happens and the count of this email address on this particular date increases or is equals to 2, then it will just log the data that entries already exist. Obviously there are 2 entries, that means there is nothing to do in this, right? But second situation is if these 2 data, so this is exactly same here, we have just copied it in this section. If the concatenate of email and date of the current user who clicked the button is equals to this variable, or you can say this text, right? And the value, the corresponding value of this concatenate is 1, is equals to 1. So that means there is 1 entry in here and we have to do something after that. Okay, so what we are doing, if it is 1, then create a variable web app backend concatenate list and go to the tab is this web app backend, get range G1:G, go to web app backend, go to G1:G, complete array, right? So take all the data in this particular column, okay, and then get all the values. Now I have taken all the values. As we know that whenever we use .get values, it saves as a 2D array. So now if I want to use, or you can say I want to do a lookup in the 2D array, first I have to convert it into a single 1D array. So to convert the 2D array in 1D, I have created another variable and written string here, a standard notation, where I am giving this 2D array in it dot split. So I'm saying consider it as a string, this particular 2D array, and then split it by comma. So with the help of this line, complete 2D array will be converted into 1D array and it will be saved in string. Now I have a 1D string of this particular column, and I also have the variable which I want to look for, which is this. Okay, so that I can know that whether in which particular row this concatenate is present, so that I can put the out time. Okay, so I have created a for loop here. I'm saying for variable I less than string length. String length means the length of the string, this complete string, or you can say the number of elements present in this particular column, I plus plus. And we are saying we are creating an index variable where we are calling string array, the 1D array dot index of. Index of is a standard notation in AppScript, and whatever we enter in this brackets, right, this particular element will be searched in this array, and if it exists, it will return the row number. The row number means the element number basically. So in this case it will be 1, because it will be starting from G1. G1 will be 0 and G2 will be 1. So it will return index as 1. And then we are saying if index is greater than 0, okay, if it is greater than 0, that means we have basically found the concatenate in G column, in this column, right? Then break. Then break means I want to exit this for loop. No need to search again. Okay, so we will have index in here as 1 because the concatenate is present on the position, basically 0 and then 1. Let's say the position is 1. What will be the row number? Row number will be 1 plus 1. So basically we have an extra header over here. That's why we will add 1 in the index in the upcoming code. So I'll go here and I'll say index will be index plus 1. In this particular line I'm saying go to the tab. Tab means go to web app backend. Okay, then get the range for f, and the row number will be index plus 1. Index plus 1 will be 1 plus 1, that is 2. It will become f2. F2 means this cell. So I have reached this cell. Now I want to set the time at which the button was clicked. So that's why I'm writing set value and not values, because it's a single value. And inside this I am entering this utilities.format date. It's a standard notation where I am putting today's date, or you can say the timestamp complete, and I'm saying it is a GMT 5:30 time zone, and I want HHMMSS. I want the time in this format, and A is a parameter which is used to basically show the AM or PM. So that's why we have entered A here. This is the line with the help of which data is getting pasted, and with the help of these lines we were just figuring out where to paste and what to paste. So this is the main line which is pasting the out time. Once it is pasted, it is done, right? But for example there is a new entry altogether. Like in this case, if I go and delete this particular row, the email address does not exist as of now. If you go and check here, there is nothing, right? And if I go and click here, because it's a new user, it will enter a new row. So if it is not 1, if it is not greater than equals to 2, that means it is equals to 0, correct? So that's why we have not particularly mentioned whether it is equals to understood. The only remaining number is 0. So we are saying if nothing happens in this particular code, then go and paste these cells. Cell A, go and paste the data in column A, column B, column C, column D, and set the values of timestamp, text, email, and the date. ABCD is timestamp. If you go and check the timestamp, attendance, email, date. If I go and check here, timestamp is this, we have created new date. Then text is the text which is coming from the HTML code, right? We have entered text here. Then we have email address is this variable, and then we are saying that I want the date in this format in column D. In column D we are getting date like this. So with the help of this code, if I go and again click, we will get the in time and out time for this user for this particular date. If any other new user comes in, a new entry will be created for the in time, and when the user will again click the button, it will give, or you can say it will record the out time. So this is how basically you can get and you can paste the in time and out time in the attendance tracking system. You can use the sheet as you like, right? Do let me know if you have any doubts in understanding the code. I will be happy to make you understand how it is working, but I would request you to go and learn from part 2 as well, because part 2 contains the basic how we came to this particular code. I hope you like this video. We are going to do lots of stuff in upcoming parts, so please stay tuned. Thank you very much.